Hello. Let's see. Oops. Discard. Hi, everyone. I'm trying to get live on Instagram as well. Give me 1 second. All right. I am live on Facebook and Instagram. Hello, hello, hello. I am Aimee Raupp of aimeeraupp.com. And I get to come to you live every single week talking to you about all the amazingness of what you can do to take back the power over your health, your fertility, your vitality, your egg quality, all the freaking things. And speaking of egg quality, if you haven't already signed up for my free course that kicks off tomorrow, the 18th, that has the 7 ways to improve the quality of your eggs. It's 5 videos, several hours of content, comes with a 35-page PDF and a free live Q&A with me at the end of the video series. You gotta sign up ASAP, okay? aimeeraupp.com/egg course, EGGCOURSE. Again, the 7 ways to improve the quality of your eggs. Now remember, I've been at this for almost 20 years. I wrote the best-selling book called Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. I've helped thousands of women all over the world, many of whom, and in fact, the story today, this woman got naturally pregnant at 42 after being told she had a 1% or less chance of getting naturally pregnant. She was told donor eggs were her only option. Donor eggs were her only option. She got pregnant naturally at 42 after working with me and one of my associates in one of my clinics, following my protocol, doing all the things. And yes, we did improve her egg quality, okay, at 42. And so she was also told she was in menopause, her numbers, her FSH was high, her AMH was low, all the things. So I know a thing or two about what to do to improve egg quality. And it's not just taking a shit ton of supplements like DHEA or alpha lipoic acid. There are so many other things you need to be doing to improve your egg quality. And I boiled it down to what I think clinically, what I have seen over the years are the top 7 ways to do that. So again, the course kicks off tomorrow. It's free. You get me for several hours. You get an awesome PDF where you can take notes and journal and all the things. And then you get a live Q&A with me on the 23rd. You sign up at aimeeraupp.com/egg course, EGGCOURSE. If you guys need to DM us for that link, just do so. And we got your back. We have over 1,600 women currently signed up for the course. So if you want your question answered on that Q&A, you better get on it because I'm not going to get to 1,600 questions in a live Q&A that's only 90 minutes long. So we'll figure that out. We will try to get everybody to feel seen and heard, but at the very least, you're going to get really good quality information from me, a clinical expert who's been doing this for almost 20 years, who has helped thousands of women, who wrote a best-selling book, who also got naturally pregnant in my 40s. What else? Thousands of women. And, I really talk not just about diet and supplements, which I think everybody talks about, but I also talk about the other layers, the emotional inflammation, how that's impacting things, the neuroscience. Remember, I was a research scientist before I became an acupuncturist. Currently, studying functional medicine as well. Like I have layers and layers and layers of education and knowledge, and I'm sharing all of that with you guys. So I do consider myself a really good resource and a reliable resource, one with a shit ton of integrity, that I can help you do this, because I do believe you can do this. So let's get into today's story of hope. Again, like I said, 42. What was the title I gave on Facebook? Of course, now I can't read it because I put it in. The title, so this is a story we did, I think last year or 2 years ago, where she went live. Yeah, because I think little guy is 2 now, or almost 3. I think he's almost 3. So I know she did a live story of hope with me a couple years ago. We also have a written up story of hope. That's what I'm going to read you today. And this is just such a good one. It's worth repeating. And then keep an eye out, because next week, over like literally the next 8 to 10 days, I'm coming to you live, sometimes several times a day, with different clients that I have worked with, and we're sharing their live stories of hope. So these are real life women that are willing to go on video with me to 20,000 people or more and share their story and share what we did to work together and how they then got pregnant against the odds, if you will. Aimee, the link for the egg course, I'll just say it one last time and I'm going to get into this. It's aimeeraupp.com/egg course, EGGCOURSE. Just the link is in my bio or in the link tree, and also you could just message us, okay? So let's get into it, okay? So she got pregnant naturally at the age of 42 after being told that she was in the beginnings of menopause and she had a less than 1% chance of getting pregnant naturally and about a 5% chance with IVF. So you could imagine she was devastated, absolutely devastated. So Grace is what we're calling her. Obviously, I change names. I mean, this woman went live with me publicly, so I don't think she'd care if I used her real name, but for the sake of just being consistent, we're going to call her Grace. She started working with my team at the Aimee Raupp Wellness and Fertility Center. So I wrote this, let's just give you the exact date. I wrote this story of hope for Grace. So 2015. So this story of hope was written in 2017. So like I said, baby boy is, I think, just about to turn 3 now. If she happens to pop on either Facebook or Instagram, she can chime in and share pictures if she wants. She does still, a lot of my girls too, this is a really nice thing. You know, we have a secret community in my Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course, and a lot of the girls, once they get pregnant, they just stay, they hang out, and they cheer the other ones on, and they often come in and remind them of what they did and what worked, and then, you know, they'll share pictures, but they're still very much like, it's like a family. We stay together. It's so blessed, so beautiful. So Grace started working with my team at the Aimee Raupp Wellness and Fertility Center, so 2015. So from when I wrote this in 2017, 2 years ago. She was 40. She'd been trying to conceive for more than a year without a single pregnancy. She had been diagnosed with unexplained infertility and was told by several reproductive endocrinologists that she was in the beginnings of menopause, with less than a 1% chance of getting pregnant naturally, and about a 5% chance with IVF. All the doctors she had met with pushed her to do IVF with donor eggs. She was feeling pretty hopeless, but she was not ready to give up on her dream of becoming a mother, and neither was my team and I. So she was seeing my associate Heather in my Nyack office regularly for acupuncture, and then she would see me once a month when I'm up there for acupuncture. And then during our work together, she enrolled in the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course so she could get continuous support and the community of women that come with that course, and the 15-hour course that it comes with too. So based on a lot of symptoms that she had, so she had a lot of inflammation in her body. She had like digestive issues and knee pain and headaches and brain fog, and she was overweight, and she just did not feel very healthy, and she couldn't understand it because we had already started changing her diet. She was reluctant to 100% do gluten-free and dairy-free. She was kind of like hemming and hawing about it. But so the first steps were we tried to get her to tighten up on the diet, follow what I talk about in Yes You Can Get Pregnant. And then at the time I was also writing Body Belief. So I was introducing her to the Body Belief style diet. Encouraged her to do an autoimmune panel with some doctors, testing for things such as clotting factors. So she saw a rheumatologist for all this. Clotting factors, inflammatory markers, and MTHFR genetic mutation. After her doctor nearly refused to do the testing, Grace got her request fulfilled, and sure enough, she came back with more than one autoimmune marker. So, you know, I see this a lot in the clinic, and I don't believe that all your eggs are bad or that your chances are only 1% or 5%. I believe that there's a lot of inflammation in the body that needs to be rectified and treated. And when we rectify and treat that inflammation, guess what? Egg quality is going to improve. Your AMH levels are going to improve. Your FSH is going to regulate. Because you got to think about it like this, that the body says I'm ready to get pregnant when it feels like it's got enough to give up. It's got enough goods to make a baby. And when it has to prioritize other things like significant inflammation in the body, you know, hormones are going to be out of whack, so your FSH is going to be off. Blood flow is going to not go to the ovaries because it's not the priority. Reproducing is not the priority. Reducing inflammation and just getting through the day is the freaking priority. So to think about that when you reduce the inflammation, then the body says, oh, okay, now I can put my resources in other places. But right now I've been really focused on putting my resources here because there's just not enough to go around. So, since my team and I work regularly with such autoimmune cases, we devised a dietary and supplement program for her, along with regular acupuncture treatments and also Chinese herbs. So, I am an herbalist. I put a lot of my clients on Chinese herbs. I study with an herbal mentor and have been for years at this point. I'm in a graduate mentorship herbal program that has helped me become an even better diagnostician as an acupuncturist and herbalist. And then, like I said, too, I also have studied functional medicine and am doing formal training in it right now. I've studied it for years on my own through the book writing, but formal training. So I understand. And again, I was a research scientist before I became an acupuncturist. So I have a biology and chemistry background. Like, I get it. I understand the Western side and I pull it all together for my clients. And so that's what I did for Grace. And then I also had her set up an appointment with the late, great Dr. Jeffrey Braverman, who is a reproductive, was a reproductive immunologist. He passed away, Jesus, I guess a year and a half ago at this point, or is it going to be 2 years in April, right? 2 years in April. His practice is still running. He still has an amazing team. Dr. Andrea Vidali runs the practice now. But so anyway, I had her set up an appointment with Dr. Braverman. And he did even more extensive testing on her. And he found even more autoimmune factors contributing to her inability to conceive. His team and my team both believed that Grace could do this on her own naturally. In fact, him and I remember talking about her case, and he was like, I can't believe, he had choice words about the reproductive endocrinologist that told her she was in menopause and that she had a 1% chance of conceiving naturally. He was like, what an asshole. I can't believe this guy even would say that to somebody. He hasn't even looked like under the hood. He doesn't even know what else is going on with her. There's all these other factors. We have to treat the other factors. Then she can get pregnant. He was also recommending endometriosis surgery for her. He suspected, based on her blood work, that she had endometriosis. Grace was completely overwhelmed by all of this new information. It really struck her and traumatized her. She grew up with a mother that was unwell, so she was around a lot of illness as a young child, and it really brought up a lot of trauma for her. And it was like, I don't know that I can do any of this. This sounds crazy to me. Other doctors were telling her that, like, I was crazy. Dr. Braverman was crazy. So she was, it was a mixed bag for her. It was really overwhelming. Thankfully, we'd been working together for a while, and she trusted me. And she was in the group, so she trusted me because she saw all these other women that were getting pregnant with similar issues. So there was a level of trust, but she was overwhelmed. And so, as we always tell our patients in the clinic and online, in my programs, in my coaching, fertility is an extension of health. And in order to achieve optimal fertility, we must first achieve optimal health. And so, the first step Grace took in transforming her fertility to take back control over her health was the diet and the lifestyle. She said to me, okay, I am willing to do that. I will do it. Now that I know I have these autoimmune markers, I will 100% commit to your diet, because she was hemming and hawing. She just wasn't really in it. So she dove in full on into the Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet. And she learned how to naturally reduce inflammation in her body by committing to dairy-free and grain-free and sugar-free and gluten-free and soy-free. And like I said, at the time, Body Belief wasn't out yet, but I had her on the Body Belief diet because I had been working on that protocol for quite some time. And along with Dr. Braverman, I was actually, you could still see me on his website. I did a lot of nutrition work with his team. As Grace made the adjustments, her health began to improve. She had less body aches. She felt more awake. The weight she couldn't seem to drop began shifting. But she was still showing irregular menstrual symptoms. And though Grace had been to many specialists, my team and I suspected that she might have undiagnosed PCOS. PCOS is one of the most common fertility challenges, polycystic ovarian syndrome, that's what we're talking about. It does have autoimmune characteristics, and it's very often undiagnosed. Sure enough, after visiting her doctor and getting checked, she tested positive for PCOS and began medication called metformin to regulate her cycles after years of irregular periods. So a lot of times you see PCOS girls and they have a very high AMH. That was not the case with Grace. But she did have the irregular periods, and that is why the one doctor told her she was in menopause, because he was not looking, again, like Dr. Braverman said, this guy never looked under the hood. He did not pay attention. He didn't even do testing on her to see if she had PCOS. He basically just looked at her age, looked at her history, looked at her weight. I know he judged her by her weight, and he said, "You're done. You're not gonna this. This isn't gonna happen for you. You're lucky. You're gonna have to do donor eggs. It's gonna be your only option." Um, so as Grace's physical health began to come into alignment, so did her mental and emotional health. She began to have hope again in her body and its ability to conceive. And when she faltered, she leaned on the support of our incredible online community in the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course. As Grace beautifully stated this week in our secret Facebook group, feeling like there are people who get it, I think, is essential to persevering on any difficult journey. Knowing you ladies get it has given me the strength and determination to keep at it and know we will all have our babies in the long run. You all give me so much emotional support just by letting me know that you feel all the things I feel and you have been through many of the same experiences that I have been through. This is such a difficult topic for so many people to be open about, and the fact that we have a safe place to be open with our feelings and questions is invaluable. That is such a beautiful quote. Beth, I like that for any emails or anything like that. So the addition to the story is, so now she's doing the diet, she's doing the lifestyle, she's working with Dr. Braverman, and he is encouraging her to do laparoscopic surgery for what he suspects is what he calls silent endometriosis. She's really apprehensive about doing the surgery. It feels scary to her, right? And so I said, let's see if he can just give us a couple cycles of just continuing to try naturally on our own, because we were starting to see her markers improve. Like I said, her red flag symptoms were greatly improving. She was feeling hopeful and positive. And so he said, okay, I'll give you, I forget, it was a couple months. And so we scheduled the surgery, and her cycles started coming more regularly. They still jumped around. They were like 35, 42, 38, 24, stuff like that. But she was ovulating and she was menstruating on a regular basis, which is something that hadn't been happening for her. And so we were quite excited. And I kid you not, the day before she is supposed to get surgery with Dr. Braverman, she has to go in for blood work. And she says to him, I think my period's late, but you know how my period is. I'm just not quite sure. So he does a blood test. And she was pregnant. And, I think he was floored, because I think he really thought she needed surgery. And at this time, I don't think on his website at that point, I don't think he has me as his nutritional consult on his website, but it was this case and like one or two others that were very similar during that time that Dr. Braverman, who, is a reproductive immunologist, a gynecologist, has a successful fertility clinic, he's written up in so many places, calls me and he says, I don't know what you're doing diet wise. That, like, cause he would recommend like the Mediterranean diet. That's what he would usually say. Just like Mediterranean diet and you're good, And he said, I don't have time to learn what you're doing that's different than the Mediterranean diet, but what you're doing is working, because I've actually never seen inflammatory markers like these shift so dramatically with just diet and lifestyle alone. Like usually I have to go in and do surgery. He was just floored. He was really impressed. Obviously it was scary with Grace because of all the existing conditions. We didn't know if she was going to miscarry or not, but he put her on an autoimmune protocol that included some steroids and included some blood thinners. But he said, can I put you on my website and you just start working with our clients because you're doing something special. And really what I did was autoimmune paleo diet. It's outlined in Body Belief. And we kind of, with Grace, we really backed her into it because the just going gluten-free and dairy-free was overwhelming for her to begin with. And she just felt like, she just had a lot of attachments to food and to the story around food, and did it really work? And so we really had to back her into things, and it worked for her. And it's worked for a lot of my girls, and so it's autoimmune paleo with like a little Chinese medicine twist is kind of what my diet is, which is a little different than some of the autoimmune paleos out there. But anyway, so she gets a positive pregnancy test in his office the day before she's set to go for endometriosis surgery. Yeah, I have goosebumps. Oh, incredible what diets can do. I know. Let me see Facebook. Let me look at you guys. Do you guys have any questions or comment? Let's see. Uh, okay, I'm 42 now. There is hope for me. I suffer with endometriosis. So, Luis, this diet in my body belief book is absolutely what you need to do. I missed a good Dr. Braverman rant. Yeah, I cried about him yesterday. I was talking with the people who are currently running his office and asking how they can like forge ahead with our relationship and like continue to work with me, because since he died things had kind of gotten a little chaotic over in the office, and so it was really nice. And we were going through and I was talking about the last email he sent me, just a few months before he died. We didn't email all the time, but and then I realized we'd been emailing since 2013, like 5 years that I had a relationship with him before he passed. Anyway, I love that man deeply. So Grace, by the time you can find it in my videos on Facebook for sure, this story of hope live with Grace live. Her name is not really Grace, but her name is Danielle, and so we say that in the video, so I guess I can share that here. But when I wrote this story of hope, she was 14 weeks pregnant at age 42. Grace is a source of inspiration for the others in the community. I am immensely proud of the work that she has done to take back the control over her health and transform her fertility. She never needed IVF nor donor eggs. She conceived naturally and through her first trimester continued on our protocol, as well as one from Dr. Braverman, to help her body hold the pregnancy. And it's working. Her healthy baby boy in her belly is thriving. And like I said, at this point in time, he's about 3 years old. And so, yeah, there you have it. So the things that she did was really commit to the diet, acupuncture regularly, lifestyle shifts like sleep and movement and stress reduction and, castor oil packs, and then obviously getting the support from Dr. Braverman, but then really committing to the diet for when she got pregnant. So she had been working with my team for about 2 years, okay? And so during that time, we saw incremental changes because she would go on and off the diet kind of regularly. And it was about in December, let me just see. So I wrote this in October. I'm going to get to the exact date. October 13, and at that point she was 14 weeks pregnant. So we go back October, September, August. I think she got pregnant in July. And so Heather had gone on maternity leave in December and Heather, my associate, also had both her children in her 40s, by the way. So she got on and got pregnant naturally. She got on to maternity leave. And so I stepped up my days in the NIAC clinic to support Heather's patients. And so I started seeing Janelle, or Grace, we'll call her both names, almost weekly. And during that time is when we got all the blood work done and all the results had come in. And I pushed along with Heather. Heather and her were still communicating via email and text and things like that. I really pushed her. So it was probably January, and she got pregnant in July. So call that 7 months. 7 months where she was fully committed. And during that time, she entered into the Yes You Can Get Pregnant ecourse. So I think she entered that in like September, October, and then really fully committed to everything by December. And the support. So there also is interesting research. Women in support groups get pregnant twice as fast as women who are not. So I think there were a lot of parts, like in what she says, basically in that, in the ecourse group, when she said, it just is so beautiful to have the support from other women. I just want to. Feeling like there are people who get it, I think, is essential to persevering on any difficult journey. Knowing you ladies get it has given me the strength and determination to keep at it and know we will all have our babies in the long run. So that was what she was really missing. She needed that push to stick to it. And she also needed, there was other stories of hope that she was around now that she was in the group, that women like her, and she was like, oh my gosh, and she did it, and she did it, and she did it, and they all did this diet, and they were all in this group, and they took these supplements, and they did their acupuncture and took the Chinese herbs. So I can too, right? It became social proof for her. And so, but it was December, and then the positive pregnancy test was in July. And then she carried to term, gave birth to a healthy, beautiful boy, and there you have it. And how long does it take for castor oil packs to work? Well, I think anything you should really give a solid 3 months to. So I don't recommend castor oil packs all month long if you're actively trying to conceive. Just only do them in the follicular phase. I have a good blog post on this. Just Google, just DM us and we'll give you the link for the castor oil video. What advice can you give for a single lady who is 42? COVID has stopped us meeting people. She also suffers with endo. Yeah, I would just get on the diet then. That's the best thing you can do to start preparing your body. So I would follow the diet mapped out in my Body Belief book. I would watch the free video series that I have coming that launches tomorrow. aimeeraupp.com/egg course, or just message us. Yeah, that's where I would start. And because you got it, no matter what, even if you start doing fertility treatments and she gets a sperm donor or something like that, you still got to prepare those eggs. You still got to prepare that palace, and you still got to reduce inflammation so that pregnancy can happen. I'd also look into blood work, make sure that the inflammatory markers aren't that high, maybe work with a functional medicine doctor to get some things regulated. But yeah, that's where I would start. But diet is, in my opinion, especially in cases like with endometriosis, or even a case like Grace where there was just a lot of obvious inflammation. I did the intake, and like I have this checkbox list. She just checked like there's like 80 symptoms on there. She probably had 50 of them. And not all of them. Like, the goal isn't to get all those symptoms to go away, but to get them to reduce and to get the body feeling better. Yeah, she had a huge emotional shift, right, Laura? I don't know that you were in the group. You might have come in. You've heard her story because I think she got pregnant just as you were coming in. What are some important inflammatory markers? Things that I would look at. I have my lab requisition here that I just got blood work this morning. I always check off homocysteine, CRP, C-reactive protein. I would look at natural killer cells. You can do an endometrial biopsy, but you also go by symptoms. Look at my book, Body Belief, and I map out, right in here, I map out a whole red flag symptom checklist. I mean, you can also, if you want, it's Nisha, I think I'm saying that right. DM us. We have a red flag symptom checklist that we can send you. And that to me is, but it's also on page 10 and 11. Look at how long this is. And I say, if you check off, where do I say it? If you check off 3 or more of these symptoms and they occur for you on a regular basis, which is 3 or more times a week, they are indicators of inflammation in your body. So DM us and we'll send you that red flag symptom list, and then you can kind of gauge that way, and then also get supporting blood work if you want. Love these stories of hope. Aimee, thank you for being a fertility advocate and detective for women everywhere. You're welcome, Miss Judy. Mwah, miss you. Okay, Laura, yeah, huge emotional shift. How can you boost your progesterone? You boost your progesterone by regulating your follicular phase. Efficient ovulation boosts your progesterone. So it's not about just taking progesterone in the luteal phase. Progesterone comes in a natural cycle from the corpus luteum, which is what surrounds the egg, right? And so that follicle, the egg is inside that follicle, and it ruptures out, and there's your egg. You have a good ovulation, the corpus luteum is healthy enough to give you a healthy progesterone level. So progesterone starts in the corpus luteum, which the corpus luteum starts in the follicular phase. So it's all about regulating. I always say this, it is not about just progesterone and estrogen. It's about regulating that entire cycle. You need a good, healthy, efficient ovulation. And the healthy, efficient ovulation comes from a ripe, fertile egg that your body, projects out, and then everything kicks into gear. So again, it goes back to diet, lifestyle, supplements, and it goes back to consistency and frequency. So I think the biggest thing with Grace and why it took longer to get pregnant was the inconsistency and infrequency of the commitment to things. But once we got her in the group, and once we got the support, and she saw other women doing it, and she saw and that's why I do these stories of hope. It's social proof. Like, everyone sees themselves in these cases, and that is amazing. That's inspirational, because a lot of you have been told you have a 1% chance of getting naturally pregnant, or you have a 5% chance with IVF, or you're in menopause, or whatever it is. You've been told these terrible things that hurt your heart and your soul. So of course you lose hope. But then you start to surround yourself with other women who've also been told that, and they've figured it out, and they've turned things around, and you also aren't in the best health, and you want to feel better, and things aren't shifting in your body the way they should. And so Again, it's not just progesterone though. There are things you can do to support progesterone, but really you have to start in the follicular phase. Is there any different approach the older you get in your 40s? I got naturally pregnant at 41 after 4.5 years of fertility, and I want a second baby. The only thing I ever say to my girls is I think the older we get, I think just the less leeway we can give ourselves. So it's about like tightening the reins a little bit. You know what I mean? So what we could have gotten away with in our late 30s, early 40s, meaning like, oh, I went off the diet, I'm doing 80-20 on the diet, and maybe it's like a 95-5 now, or 100%, and you just go all on in. What are your thoughts on spirulina power if you have endo? Yeah, I recommend spirulina regularly. I don't really differentiate if there's endometriosis or not. I think it's a powerful antioxidant. It's very cooling. And so endometriosis tends to be a hot inflammatory condition. So I think spirulina can be helpful. I'm not sure if there's, recommendations or research against it. I don't see any problems with it clinically. Sometimes with Hashimoto's, some people react, but not really. I really generally don't see any reactions to spirulina on the negative side. My body has changed between 42 and 43. So yeah, I would just tighten the reins. So usually though, I go to this diet and this approach, the older a patient gets. But you did just get pregnant. So I do think, and I mean, I know it probably feels like years for you, but, you have proven fertility. So I would just like in your mindset too, go back to what was I doing at 41 and a half when I got pregnant? How healthy was I? How did I feel? And you try to match that, okay? Is it your opinion that every PCOS woman should be on metformin? No, not at all. I think ovasitol works equally well, and also following a diet with high protein and good quality fats can really, and limit your carbs, really does make a difference on PCOS too. So no, not at all. Let's see. In your pregnancy, do you bleed? Some women will bleed and spot in their pregnancy, but ideally we don't want to see bleeding in a pregnancy, but bleeding in a pregnancy doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. So it just depends. Someone asked earlier about the chances of success, your protocols after age 45. I've had women up to 46 naturally pregnant, and I've had women up to 47 using their own eggs for IVF and conceived and made healthy babies from those eggs. So yeah, there's definitely chances of success with that. That's great because I hate how I feel on metformin. Yes, some people don't react well. So if you don't feel good on it, and even in Grace's case, she didn't feel great on it, so we cut the dose in half. I'm going to do a story of life of hope next week with a woman named Marissa, who I think 43 or 44, naturally pregnant after failed IVFs and the whole thing. And she was with Dr. Braverman too, and he had her on metformin, and she just felt terrible on it. So I think we cut the dose to like every other day. Maybe she even was off it when she got pregnant. I can't remember. But yeah, when people don't feel well on it, I usually try to switch them to the ovasitol. What do you class as good sperm? I mean, that really depends on the parameters of the lab. So I'd have to see the lab work, but, and also maybe a DNA fragmentation test. But, I also think that you can always have better sperm than what you have. So getting your partner to be on a similar diet and similar supplements to you is really important. I have a whole video. You can message us if you want. We'll give it to you on updates to what you can do to improve sperm health. I just did a whole sperm health video recently, so we can share that with you. Okay, guys, I'm going to hop because I have another call. And stay tuned. So next week, like I said, there are a lot of live stories of hope with different women, and you're gonna love them. And yeah, I hope to continue to support and inspire you wherever you are in your path, and to restore hope and faith in your body. And also check out the free egg quality course. Again, the 7 ways to improve the quality of your eggs kicks off tomorrow. 5 videos, 5 videos, 7 ways, and then a free live Q&A with me happening on the 23rd, so mark your calendars. Okay, you guys, let me just see. Very short cycle day 25, had 2 miscarriages, diagnosed with APOS. Would you recommend take daily aspirin? Absolutely. You should really see a hematologist and get the right support there, though, for that antiphospholipid syndrome. Highly recommend you get a referral to a hematologist and get the recommendation from that doctor to do it, because absolutely the APS is playing a role in the miscarriages. Baby aspirin can help, but I don't recommend baby aspirin all cycle, only after you ovulate and could potentially be pregnant. But with antiphospholipid syndrome, you typically need a stronger medication like Lovenox or Cytomel. Oh, sorry, Lovenox or Clexane, depending on where you are in the world. And a hematologist is the one who should put you on that. Or your gynecologist, if you're not seeing a reproductive endocrinologist, should refer you to a hematologist. Push for that referral. See the hematologist, get the blood work done again, and follow what they tell you to do. Okay. Um, okay. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Ciao. Okay. Bye, Facebook. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Can diet impact chromosomes? Absolutely. So egg quality is about chromosomes. So sorry about that, Celeste. I had a baby boy with trisomic 15 pregnancy last month. Yeah. Absolutely, Celeste. I think you know what to do. I'm here for you. Mwah.